am Sue Webley. Welcome to another episode of Inspire. Child, who this? Who is this on the screen? Because I sure don't look like my intro. Hey, y'all. I'm so excited to have you here this Saturday, this good Saturday morning. I'm a little wired, but I haven't had my coffee yet. I'm about to have it. So, if you're coming in, make sure you have something in your cup because I'm sure going to ask what you are sipping on. Welcome to another episode of Inspire. I am so glad that you are trickling in. I see you coming in on Facebook and on Instagram and on YouTube and on LinkedIn. So glad that you are joining us this morning. If you're joining us from the West Coast, I know you love me. So thank you for getting up extra early in the morning to come and hang out with us on Inspire. If you've just kind of stumbled upon this broadcast, you don't know who I am. What Inspire is all about. I am your host. I am Sue A. Webley, an author, producer, award-winning minister, and founder of Cara Solutions, which is a full-service digital agency that helps individuals, and maybe some of you watching, individuals and organizations navigate the virtual space with confidence. And so I believe in the power of words, wisdom, and witness. And that is what Inspire is all about. Again, we are live right now on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. It's not Twitter. Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube. And so I want to invite you to connect, follow, like, and subscribe. If you've been following me on Cara Solutions LLC, thank you so much. Still follow us there. But I am building up the Inspire platform, the Inspire network, so to speak. And so I want to invite you to follow us at Inspire with Sue W on Facebook and on Instagram. We'll be popping up on other platforms as well. If you want to follow me directly, I am Sue A. Webley everywhere. Just put Sue A. Webley and you will find me. Alternatively, you could also head over to our website at www.getinspired.live. There you can find out all about the show. You can watch all of our previous episodes and subscribe to our newsletter because we have some stuff coming up and don't want you to miss anything. So do me a favor and do all of that. Want to greet those of you who are watching. Hi, Danielle. Hey, Bishop Bonnie. It's so good to see you. I see you. Listen, I know there's more people than who I'm seeing posting. So I want to shout you out. Put your name in the chat so I can shout you out. Grand rising to you, Chef D. Thank you, my dear friend. Thank you. See you coming in on Instagram. Listen, if you see me looking to the side, that's Instagram over there, y'all. I'm not being rude. It's Instagram. So the plantation done burned down. Come on, ancestors. I don't know if you saw the news, but the plantation, one of the I can't remember the name of the plantation off the top of my head right now, but it's one of the biggest plantations that was built by almost 200 slaves, right? It burned down to the ground, y'all. I mean, the wind just kept lighting the embers and moving it all over. That thing just broke up, okay, down to the ground. And so, yeah, ancestors did that thing. Okay, so as I know, part of me should be like, oh, I'm so sorry that you lost it. Nah, I ain't sorry about that. I'm not sorry. Nobody black should be sorry about that, because it was time for that to come down. So if you haven't already looked at it or heard about it, go ahead and research it in the news. It was all over social media. Memes are already popping up all over the place. So yeah, tell me your thoughts. Tell me your thoughts about that. And for the last few Saturdays, I've been asking for your thoughts on Sinners. If you saw Sinners, I want to hear about it, because I'm about to go back. I have to go back and see it again. That movie was listen, Ryan Coogler did his good work. Okay, it was so layered, has so many messages in it, especially if you are creative. That movie, yeah, it should speak to you. Bishop Bonnie said, "I'm not sorry" as well. Thank you, ancestors. Yes, we appreciate the ancestors here today. But we want to get into our conversation. We have an amazing guest that is with us this morning, and I'm so excited that she had the opportunity to be with us. It's Chancee Lundy. She is the executive director of Southern Black Girls and Women's Consortium. She's an engineer, a global change maker, a fierce advocate for Black girls and women in the South. And through her work with Black Girls and Women's Consortium, the Southern Black Girls, listen, I need to put the handle on it, Southern Black Girls and Women's Consortium, she is helping to redefine what it looks like to fund, to center, and to celebrate our communities with love at the core. From joy bus tours to multi-million-dollar investments in Black women-led organizations, Southern Black Girls and Women's Consortium is showing the world that when we pour into Black girls, we're not just dreaming, we're building. And so whatever you are sipping on, I want you to grab it. I want you to go ahead and share this broadcast today as we prepare to meet Chancee Lundy. And let's look at a little bit about the organization.
Because I'm a Southern Black girl.
We wanted to show girls that you can dream big and you can do anything.
It's so important that this organization come here and show them what is possible.
They see that they can be whatever it is they want to be.
The Southern Black Girls and Women's Consortium is a collective. We are a consortium of Black women leaders, activists, philanthropists who gather together to fund Black women-led organizations in the South and channel greater resources to organizations that intentionally support Southern Black girls and women. We funded our own research to understand what Black women and girls needed in the South and how Black girls perceived themselves in the South. What we learned was Black girls understood themselves to be resilient and strong, but they worried about the quality of their education. They were worried about the social, economic, political injustices in their community. And so we decided to do something revolutionary. We decided to fund joy. We decided to fund dreams.
My biggest dream is to be either a pediatric trauma nurse or a pediatric anesthesiologist.
We fund health and wellness, social justice, leadership development and empowerment, education, and economic opportunity.
My biggest dream is to become a doctor or a biochemist.
We would like to be able to fulfill the dreams of Black girls and women for the next 10 years. And to do that, we need our friends. We need those of you who are aligned with us to fund this work. We need our collective talent. We need our collective power to make this dream possible. There's a space for you at Southern Black Girls and Women's Consortium. Please join us at southernblackgirls.org.
Good morning, Chancee.
Good morning. Hey, girl. Hey. That's
hey, girl. Hey.
That's my calling card. Hey, girl. Hey. It's great to see you.
Oh, how are you this morning? I'm so excited that you're here.
I am well. Thank you so much for inviting me to share about Southern Black Girls and Women's Consortium.
Yes, I am so, I guess enamored is the word that's popping up for me with the work that's being done. And when I think about, I got to shout out Simone, my executive assistant, because I sent her screenshots upon screenshots. When I think about the type of guests that I want on Inspire, and I came across the organization, I'm like, yes, we need to have them on Inspire. So that was the screenshot. Simone, thank you for being diligent and helping us get guests who are inspired. Listen, she's a lifesaving. If you are an entrepreneur, get yourself an assistant. You can't do it all by yourself. Even if it's a little, it might be a little sacrifice for some, especially if you're just starting out. But it's worth it. It's worth it. Okay, come on. Say good morning, because you're gonna say good morning.
Good morning,
everybody.
Good morning.
Okay.
I gotta be on camera. Okay.
She doesn't bother me until I'm doing something, right? Now she's at my leg trying to get up here. So good morning.
Right. I know a little bit about
that. but the work. Before we get into the work, what are you sipping on this morning, Chancee?
I am sipping on some good old natural H2O this morning. So that is some good, refreshing, cool agua.
Listen, I told Chancee, and I know you all have heard me say it if you've been with me for any amount of time, that there's water in my coffee. Amen.
Amen.
And that I have to make better choices. I know I got to make better choices with my life. Okay, to But I'm gonna take the sip of this good coffee. This is blonde espresso with some brown sugar syrup and oat milk. And of course, it is Mental Health Awareness Month. So my cup for the month is Fearfully and Wonderfully Made. And I need y'all to say that to yourself. Oh, we are fearfully and wonderfully made. We are fearfully and fabulously made. So that's the mantra for this week.
Yeah.
For this month.
I like coffee too, but I just like coffee with my cream and sugar. So
just a splash of coffee.
A splash of coffee with cream and sugar.
Well, let's get into all about you and this organization. I know that we just watched that video, but tell us a little bit more about the organization and what led you to this work.
I don't even know where I want to start. So Southern Black Girls and Women's Consortium really was founded by 4 women. There was one visionary, LaTosha Brown, who had this idea once she saw a report that came out that showed of the $5 billion that's invested in the South in terms of philanthropy, less than 1% of that goes to Black girls and women-led organizations. So when you think about our communities and the fact that over 50% of Black people reside in the South, we know that that's a huge gap in terms of philanthropy and the needs that are in our community. So LaTosha Brown brought together 3 other Black women powerhouses in philanthropy at the time: Margot Miller, Alice Eason Jenkins, and Felicia Lucky, to start Southern Black Girls and Women's Consortium. The goal was to raise $100 million and invest that over 10 years into organizations that are led by and center Black girls and women in their work. And I think I've been a part of this type of work my whole life. I first met LaTosha as a mentor. She was my mentor when I was 14, and I was, not making all the best choices. And she kind of provided that structure that I needed. She had a girls organization. She had a girls group. And there was even times when we weren't even necessarily having those formal meetings, that she just gathered us or came and picked us up to run errands with her and just showed us that she cared. So I've always been a benefactor of this type of work. And so it's just been in me to be a part of this work.
Wow. And so what led to your role now as an executive director?
Yeah, so I started out you saw the video of the bus tour and some clips from our conference. So I started out as a program manager at Southern Black Girls, and it's something that LaTosha had been asking me to do. She was like, hey, I have this organization. And I was with her when she started it, but I wasn't working for the organization. I actually had my own engineering company at the time. And she said, if you ever leave there, I want you to come here. And so I sold that business in 2020. And the name of it was actually Inspire Green. And it's still flourishing under the leadership of another Black woman. So after I did that, I was like, you know what? It's time for a shift. I want to be a little bit closer to community in a different way and get back to giving back in this way. And so when this opportunity came to be executive director, I naturally wanted to step into it.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing. So one thing that kind of struck me when I visited the site, right? So I went and looked at the website and saw all of the amazing programming and the work that you're doing. There's a phrase "powered by love," right? And so that's not something that you hear every day in philanthropy, right? And
Yes.
so, what does that look like in the work that you do with the organization?
What that looks like for us is not is removing a lot of the barriers that exist in philanthropy. You know, a lot of organizations, when you think of a lot of the philanthropic organizations, you gotta cross your T's, dot your I's, you have to have this in place. And we know those create barriers of opportunity for people in our community. And so when we say powered by love, that's removing some of those structures. We know that you're doing the work. We just say that we do non-traditional philanthropy. So what that looks like for us is, you might be that, that woman at church who she just getting them group of girls together on Sunday. Nobody's giving her a dime. She's taking girls on trips and having them dancing and doing the praise ministry or, other things. And we're funding them too. Like anything that you are doing that keeps girls in a safe space. We want to make sure that the work we're doing is done in love. And so we don't see ourselves as the decision makers in everything we do. We have a collective, we have a participatory, it's called participatory grant making model. And so we have a wisdom council that's made up of women from across the South who actually decide on our grantees and what they should receive. And we do trust-based philanthropy. So we don't have a lot of really strong, I shouldn't say we don't have strong reporting requirements, but they're not strict reporting requirements requiring 3 and 4 pages. We trust that you are going to do the work that you say you're going to do. And we see it. We see the evidence of that all the time in community. We don't say that these just are our people that we give grants to. We see them as partners in this work. So one of our team members, Joy, she always likes to say, once you're in community with us, we go together. So we're not letting you go. So we all in relationship together.
Yeah. And so thank you for sharing. So since 2020, the organization has awarded like over 10 million, right?
Yes.
I wish I was in the South. Over 10 million to Black women-led organizations and supported over 800 girls from 13 Southern states. The funding part of it was, I was really excited to see that, especially when funding is being snatched from so many organizations and hindering their ability to continue doing the work, right? What you mentioned a little bit about the impact, but can you maybe there's one particular story you can tell about the impact? What does it look like?
Yes.
Yeah.
That impact shows up in different ways, right? So we're an intermediary funder. So we get the money from the big organizations and we redistribute it. So the average budget of the organizations that we support is like $200,000 a year. Our average grant size is about $30,000, and that can carry for some people a program, and it's a part of their budget. But what that impact looks like to me is, one, there are the organizations that we support, but then through our Black Girl Joy Challenge, we actually support girls with $550 micro grants. And so we take something where they feel, a lot of times we feel powerless. You're in school, people are shouting at you at home, you got this, you got that. And we show them that they can have influence and impact. And one story that I can share, since you said one, is there are these twins in Montgomery, Brianna and Brooke. And years ago, they started an organization. They wanted to end period poverty when they found that I think 1 in 5 girls was missing from school because they didn't have access to sanitary supplies. And so they made it their mission. They started an organization called Women in Training. And we gave them one of their first grants. We gave them a Black Girl Joy Challenge. And the program was so big at their school that they were asked to do it in other schools within Montgomery, Alabama. There was actually legislation passed after this that said that, okay, Title I schools in Alabama could now apply for funds to be able to distribute period products to students. They actually just passed a law in Alabama, I think about a week or two ago, taking the tax off of menstrual products. And these girls were advocates of that. They were actually nominated to be CNN Heroes of the Year last year. So that's one, I'm thinking about that impact and how we can multiply. So this one idea, this seed that we invested, this $550, and look how it's multiplied. And we have a lot of examples like that. The organizations that we support, there's just been such a domino effect in terms of the work that they've been able to do and sustain the programs. And I'm not going to say we are the first to support or fund, but I like to say that we're some of the first to really be in community with the organizations.
Yeah, and I've seen, thank you for sharing. I've seen just in videos how much a part of the community that you are. Like you all embed yourselves.
Yes.
You know, you're not so high and lifted up and transcended that you know, like you can't be touched. You are in the middle of it. You are touching and speaking to, and you know, you're there. Your presence, and presence really means a lot, especially when it comes to mentorship and any organization that connects with young girls, with young boys. Any organization that does that vital work. Is important for presence is important in that.
Yes.
So thank you all. I see you coming in still. If you just joined us, we are in conversation with Chancee Lundy, and she is the executive director of the Southern Black Girls and Women's Consortium. And we're having amazing conversation. Please share. And if you have a question or comment for Chancee, please go ahead and post it, and we'll make sure that she has the opportunity to respond to it before we end our time together today. So you mentioned a little bit about your programming, right?
Yes.
Can we talk a little bit about the Joy is Our Journey bus? Can we talk about that? And and I think there's a conference coming up, right?
Yes. Our Black Girls Dream Conference is coming up. This is our 5th annual conference. We started the conference virtually during the pandemic. And we brought it live in 2022 in Birmingham. And then we've been to Memphis, Atlanta, and we're back in Atlanta again this year, June 6th to 7th. So if you go to our website, southernblackgirls.org, and look at Dream Conference, we still have some registration available. So if you would like to come to the conference for girls and women, it's amazing. Our bus tour, though, is something that we do instead of we asking you to come to us. It's something that where we go out into select cities where we have partners, and it actually is an opportunity to uplift the work that our partners do in their communities. And I like to call them like mini Essence festivals in the community, because we're doing everything there from workshops around healing, mental health, social justice, to making cosmetic chemistry, making your own lip gloss and hair braiding, and all those things that we love to do. So we're kind of infusing all those pieces of that learning and also those joy pieces together too. And it's not just the girls. We see women out there hula hooping and you know, and having just a fun-filled time in this space and atmosphere of joy. And I think that sometimes we really need that in a world that is trying to steal our joy. Sometimes we just need these spaces that are curated, especially for us. And so we like to provide that. And I think that's what makes us different as a funder, is that we like to come around and we like to be in community and make sure that you're having these safe spaces as well.
Yeah. What are some of the locations that the bus stops at?
So the bus tour is the last one we had. We went to, it was in Birmingham. And I'm trying to collect my thoughts. We went to Birmingham. We go to rural areas too. We went to Wilcox County, Alabama. We went to Elaine, Arkansas, a population 600 people, Jackson, Mississippi, Houston, Texas. Our next bus tour, we plan to go to Charleston, West Virginia, to Charlotte, to Lancaster, South Carolina, down to Fort Lauderdale, to Biloxi, to New Orleans. Those are some of the cities that we're thinking about for our next bus tour. One of the things that we like to do is we don't just stay in the urban areas. We also like to go out to our rural communities where people they don't often get visits. People don't often go see, you know, I grew up in Selma, Alabama, so because the bus tour came to Selma, but we like to go out and show our people out in rural areas too that look, you are here, we love you, we see this work that you're doing too, and it's important.
Yeah. I'm thinking about rural areas. You're right. We don't often kind of go out there, and one of the things that that I've realized, especially, going back to the pandemic, everything shut down, that rural areas, those who are in rural areas really are sometimes disconnected, right? They don't have adequate internet. They don't have adequate devices, and really are disconnected from all the things going on in the city, right? And so I appreciate that you are intentional about meeting the needs of going out and seeing and being in community with those who are in rural areas. So thank you so much for that.
Yes.
Kristen says the conference is amazing.
It is. It is. It's like every Black girl's dream. I don't even know. It's beautiful, and like the setup and all that. If you go to our webpage, you like see a display, like you see, I think a mom, her daughter, or something like in front of some of the balloon, like the 3D graphics. We have an excellent designer, so the aesthetic is everything, but then the content is even more amazing.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. I see you coming in. Hey, Minister Sandy, thank you for joining us today. So this work is centered in the South, right? Yes. Why is it so important that what you do is South centered?
Yeah, and I think I captured that a little bit earlier when I was saying that, over 50% of Black people live in the South. And we know that in the South, we live under some of the most oppressive regimes that there are, where folks are blocking access to Medicaid, didn't do Medicaid expansion, where programs that are worthy are not supported. Like I said, that less than 1%, think about that, $5 billion, less than 1% of that going to organizations that support and are led by Black girls and women. That means there's a severe gap in the needs. And so we saw this gap. The people who started this organization, Latasha, Alice, Felicia, and Margot, have been working in philanthropy in some time, and they were able to see, this huge gap that was in philanthropy for Black girls and women, and wanted to solve that. And so it was important for us. These are all Southern women too, that we focused on the South. We know from someone who has lived in the North, as far north as I lived in Washington, D.C., to now back living in the South, living in Charlotte, I'm able to see like just a huge disparity in programming that exists, like what your city will pay for, what the government will actually fund in terms of community centers and recreation. I grew up in a town where I tell people like the library closed at 5 o'clock where I grew up. And so that wasn't even a space that you can count. By the time you get out of school and get to the library, it was time to go home. Yeah. Versus when I lived in Washington, D.C., the library might have closed at 8 or 9 o'clock. So that was, and there was one in every community. Yeah. So just to ask, I think that there are differences that people really aren't able to visualize unless they're living in it. That access to healthcare, education, there's such a gap that communities are trying to fill in terms of what we have access to. So that's why we focus and center the South.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. We're going to take a quick break for you to have a sip of water, for me to do some housekeeping, and we will be right back with some more conversation with Chancee. All right. Hey, y'all, thank you again for joining us. I see you all over the internet. Go ahead and please share this out. And thank you for the follows, y'all. I see some people following me on Instagram. Thank you so much. Want to invite you to connect, follow, like, and subscribe again. If you're already following us on Cara Solutions LLC, thank you so much. If you're not, just look for Cara Solutions LLC and follow us there. But we are building out the Inspire Network. And so we want you to follow us on Inspire with Sue W on Facebook and on Instagram. You can also head over to our website at www.getinspired.live. There you can see all of our previous episodes. You can find out more about the show. You can subscribe to our newsletter, but you can also book your own appearance on the show. So if you are someone or someone you know is on a mission to create change while inspiring others to do the same, we certainly want to hear from you. I want to sit across from you in this virtual space to be in conversation. And so if you go to our website, you just hit Be Our Guest, that Be Our Guest tab, fill out that information, and a member of our team will contact you to secure your appearance on Inspire. The Overflow. So this is something new that I've just started probably like 3 weeks ago. Sometimes things still sit with me after the show, after the show has ended. And so I share my reflections in the Overflow. And so that's on our website. again at www.getinspired.live. If you want to kind of read some of the reflections and hear what, especially what some of our past guests have instilled in us, I invite you to go over and check out The Overflow. Also, the Inspire Network is growing. It's growing, right? And so I'm excited to present Dying to Talk. It is a brand new podcast by Letitia Battle. It is streaming right now on all podcasting platforms. Letitia and her guests, they talk about grief and loss in all of the areas, all of the ways that we find talking about loss taboo, or we are challenged with talking about grief and loss. Letitia covers it. So check out Dying to Talk. You go to Spotify, Audible, Amazon Music, YouTube Music, wherever, good pods, iHeartRadio, wherever you listen to podcasts, go ahead and look for Letitia Battle, Dying to Talk. Also, Cara Solutions. So if you've been around me enough time, y'all know I'm a little neurospicy, okay? Neurospicy. My brain just works a little bit different. And so for this Mental Health Awareness Month, I have decided to do a special series called Brilliant Not Broken. And it is for neurospicy entrepreneurs. It is streaming right now. Again, just look for the Confident Navigator podcast. You'll see all of the episodes, on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Audible, Spotify, YouTube Music, and wherever you listen to your podcast. Also, I'm going to do this every single Saturday that we are live until our sibling in community gets a kidney. Pastor Yanni, Reverend Yanni, the Peace Pastor, however you know Yanni, even if you don't, she needs a kidney donor. She's been trying to find one for over a year now. And we want to do whatever we can to help her. So she is in search of potential donors who are fairly healthy, have the blood types A or O, and the courage to commit to surgery and to help save her life. And she would love to share the safety measures with you. If you are not someone who is able to donate a kidney, but you have a resource, an organization, you can connect her and her family to another place that can help them. Send that to her too. Send it to the family too. You can reach them at peacepeopleinc@gmail.com. That's peacepeopleinc@gmail.com to reach her and her family directly, or you can head over to EmeryLivingDonor.org. That's EmeryLivingDonor.org. Fill out that survey and enter her name, Ayana Davis. Well, we are going to get back into some more conversation with our amazing guests today. Welcome back, Chancee. Thank you again for joining us. I'm so enjoying our conversation so far.
Me too. Thank you.
So you have a layered background. You talked a little bit about it earlier. So you have a background in STEM, environmental justice. You're not just showing up as an executive director, right? So you're bringing some science. You're bringing some stuff with you. How does all of what you've done before show up in how you lead right now?
I always tell people that nothing is ever wasted. Like every experience I've had, it's like an ingredient that's used to feed others. So nothing is ever wasted. I always thank God for all the many opportunities that He has given me. I know that a lot of us are living lifestyles that are different than our traditional and what our parents, may have been with a job and stayed there 50 years. That is not who we are in this generation. And even then, some of them still were doing other stuff on the side. They ran the Bible study. I remember my grandmother was the president of the usher board at the same time that she was doing her work. So we always got other stuff. We're always multifaceted. But I always tell people every skill that I've learned from running a business, being in leadership experiences before from college, all of those things have brought me to who I am today. And so all along this journey, I've always been able to share different pieces of myself with others, like what I've learned and what I've been through. So I don't think that anything is ever wasted. It all goes to show and to help me impact in different ways.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. So um, we all have moments that kind of ground us, right? Um, can you share with us maybe one or two moments on your journey that affirmed for you that this is exactly what you're supposed to be doing?
I would say that it's been during a bus tour, or during a conference when I actually get to see people, and I see this work. It's like that manifestation of what you're doing, and it's just, to me, it brings you to tears because you actually can see the organizations you're impacting. You can see the lives of girls who are forever changed, not just because of the work that we're doing, but because of the work of other Black women in community who are shepherding them, who are being good stewards in their life, who are impacting and being role models, who are giving of their time. If you think about what it takes to put on a program, you might go to a program every day after school, but it takes hours to develop that curriculum, what we're going to talk about, to make sure you're going to have food to eat. And a lot of times we aren't thinking about, where does the funding come from to make this happen? And it's happened to be organizations, but I think just I'm grounded in knowing that this impact is being replicated, is being multiplied. I see our youth ambassadors. We have 2 youth ambassadors that represent each state. So that's 26 youth ambassadors. And I'm just seeing the growth in them as well. And so to see these young women aged 12 to 24 and what they're doing now, some who have kind of graduated out of being youth ambassadors, like seeing their work and how they're giving back in the roles that they're playing in community now, it's like, you're doing the right thing.
Yeah. And we've seen some of those youth ambassadors on Instagram. So there's some reels. Go and watch them. Listen, I was having a good time. I was having a good old time, just kind of taking in all of that energy, because it's just, I love that energy and I love that positivity. And you can see, even without knowing everything there is to know about this organization, you can just see that the change that it's making, right? You see the confidence that these young women possess, and it's just phenomenal. So again, I keep saying that I'm appreciative, but I'm so grateful for the work that this organization is doing.
We're grateful to be just like a link in that chain, right? We're linking. So we're linking them to the resources that they need to be able to put on this positive program in their communities.
Yeah. Again, we are hanging out with Chancee Lundy. If you have a question or a comment for Chancee, please go ahead and post it, and I will make sure that she has the opportunity to respond to that before we end our time together today. So, Chancee, it is Mental Health Awareness Month, and I'm clear, right, that sometimes it gets a little weighty, right? This, as you go about the work, even though sometimes we love the work that we do, but it doesn't mean that it's not hard sometimes, right? That it's not weighing down on us sometimes. How do you protect your peace and center your well-being as a leader?
As a leader, I think that it's important to kind of display what it is that you want the people who are working for you, or working with you to have. And so one of the things that we do in every team meeting is, the first question on the agenda is, what did you do for self-care last week? So we're creating this culture of care, like, because it's expected. What did you do to care for yourself? What brought you joy last week? So I want you to be intentional. We're really intentional about that. So for me, it's making sure that, personally, we live in a lot of chaos right now, and confusion, and there are so many things being bombarded at you. You don't even know what to be mad about anymore. So many things happening, and so I decided I don't read the news. I mean, I don't watch the news, but I can scroll. I can read the news, and I need to know. And I set boundaries around that, because I do need to know what's happening in the world, but I don't let it consume me. But I also say the same things to the people I'm working with, like, hey, we have to make sure that we're making time for us. Right now, the need is there in our communities because, like you talked about, the funding being stripped. So for me, I feel the pressure. Like there are a lot of people who are calling who saying our funding has gotten cut. Do you have any more resources? And we know that resources, we live in an abundance mindset, but sometimes the bank account don't match up to the to where your mind is at the time. And so we want to make sure that we're in a position to be able to give resources. There's a lot of pressure. A lot of people are under stress. And so I'm like, we're doing what we can to kind of alleviate that. And even from a mental health perspective and how we give. So we have our Black Girl Joy Challenge, which often focuses on mental health and wellness. So we have girls implementing projects. We have our Sage Circle, our monthly Sage Circle for adults who are running organizations to participate in, which often focus on mental health. And our youth ambassadors actually launched something new called Soul Sessions that they do the fourth Saturday of every month. So that's their safe space for reaching out to girls within our network, and they often focus on mental health. So it's just a part of who we are. We've seen that mental health and wellness, even through our workshops. When we put out a call for workshops, over a third of those workshops were centered around mental health and wellness. And, and it's not just the traditional. There's the traditional, the talk, and how you get over grief and journaling and stuff like that. But we even have people, like someone is coming to do something around floral therapy, like how flowers can be a part of your therapy and your healing. So trying to introduce different modes. So it's not just about me and how I, protect my peace and my mental health, but I want to make sure that we're expanding that and others are understanding that in this world that we're living in now, how important it is to be protective of your mental health and wellness.
Yes. Thank you for that. Thank you. So you talked about joy earlier, and we like to talk about joy here on Inspire. I believe joy is an act of resistance, an act of protest.
Yes.
And how we survive is by leaning into our joy. So what would you say outside of the work that you're doing with the organization? What brings you joy? Is it a hobby? What do you do outside of the organization that brings you joy?
So some people might laugh at this, but one of the things I actually love to do is watch documentaries. Like I love to just sit and watch documentaries. I just like to learn about history. I like to go on walks. That brings me joy. Being with my child, my son, and my husband, like that brings me joy. Like I'm waiting. We're gonna go to the Soul Circus. That's gonna bring me a lot of joy. Like I'm excited about going to the Universal Circus. I went a long time ago, and so like that brings me joy. So talking to friends, like having a deep belly laugh with my friends, that brings me joy. And my family, talking to your cousins sometimes or remembering when, all of those things bring me joy. And I do all of that at least once a week. so talking to girlfriends and just kicking over nothing. So
yeah, I love it. Thank you for sharing that. So if you could offer a word of encouragement to a Black girl that might be watching right now, what would you say?
I would say that you have everything you need to be who you want to be, and don't set limits on yourself, no matter what other people say, no matter what mistakes you have made in life. Like, don't set limits on yourself. You can still be whoever you want to be. And you can be many things. You don't have to just be one thing. You have the opportunity to transform and to be whatever you want to be. And I think that I want you to be encouraged, and sometimes it's your own motivation that you need. And I heard something recently that's been sticking with me, and that is that discipline will take you where motivation won't. So just being disciplined in what it is that you want to do and putting your mind to it, and to love on yourself, because if you don't love yourself, if you think bad about yourself, if you think I'm too this, or I'm too that, or I don't have enough of this, then, the expectation that you set that someone else should be thinking those things about you is kind of false. Like, you have to love yourself first. So that self-love, and to still have joy through it all. Like there's a song that was sung in church a long time ago, that I still have joy. Out of all the things I've been through, I still have joy. And as you get older, you start understanding some of those songs that were just words to you back then. You start understanding that. But I would just tell you that you are complete and you are whole, and you can still grow in who you are.
You are complete, you are whole, and you can still grow. Ooh, that's a powerful word of encouragement. Thank you so much, Chancee. I got some rapid fire questions for you before we end today. And so just whatever pops in your head, you can go ahead and respond to it. All right. Sweet tea or lemonade?
Sweet tea.
What's one word that describes your current season of life?
Full.
Morning person or night owl?
Morning.
What's a book every Black girl should read?
I have so many, like 50. J. California Cooper is like one of my favorite people, but I actually would think maybe Malcolm X.
Mm-hmm. First song you play when you need to hype yourself up?
Cash Money taking over for the 99 and the
Cash
2000.
Money taking over. I love it. What's one thing people might be surprised to know about you?
I'm pretty much an open book. You know what? Rapid fire. That I don't like pickles. I'm a Southern girl who does not like pickles.
What? All right. Y'all heard that. She don't like, don't bring no pickles, child. She don't like
nowhere near my plate.
Chancee, thank you so much for taking the time to hang out with us on Inspire today. I thank you for your heart and your leadership and your unapologetic commitment to making space for Black girls to dream and to do. And so all of you who have watched, hey, Instagram, all of you who have watched and tuned in, thank you for showing up, for listening deeply, and for being part of this growing movement of people who believe in purpose, healing, and liberation. We are getting ready to get out of here. You know what I always say, until next time, I want you to stay lifted, I want you to stay motivated, but most of all, I want you to stay inspired. See you next week.